Welcome to Grandma's YouTube channel. Well, my last story was about Toothless the dragon, which is one of my very favourite things that I have. So I thought I might read you a story now that's about a dragon. It's not toothless. It's a dragon called Benjamin. The story is called Benjamin the Lonely Dragon. The story is by Mark Christ. Once there lived a sad little dragon named Benjamin. You've got an unkie called Ben, an unkie Ben whose name is Benjamin. All right, I'll start again. Once there lived a sad little dragon named Benjamin. He was sad because he didn't have any friends. None of the other dragons in his small village would play with him. You see, Benjamin had a problem. He was afraid of fire. Imagine that, a dragon afraid of fire. Whenever another dragon breathed fire, Benjamin would run home and hide under his bed. He tried to be brave, but the harder he tried, the worse it became. I think that might be Benjamin there, or is that Benjamin there? I'm sure we'll find out. The other dragons thought Benjamin was very cowardly. They laughed at him and scared him with their fire. His father sometimes lost patience and scolded him, while his mother would look at him sadly and shake her head. Poor Benjamin was so lonely. He didn't have a friend in the world. He felt that he was a bit of a disappointment to his family. He was so ashamed. Oh, Benjamin, I think this is Benjamin here with his sad face. Benjamin, I think I like you. I would be your friend. What use is a dragon who is afraid of fire? He would ask himself. Perhaps it would be better if I went away. No. So one night toward the end of autumn, Benjamin packed his toothbrush, the scarf his mother had knitted for him, and a large box of chocolate-covered honeycomb. Yum. Which he had received for Christmas. That should keep me going for a while, he thought. Then with tears in his eyes, he sat down and he wrote a note. Dear Father and Mother, I have decided not to cause you any more trouble. I am going away for a while. Please don't worry about me. Your loving son, Benjamin. Then he crept quietly into the cold night. There's his note. And there he is, creeping away quietly into the cold night. The next day, Benjamin had left his small village far behind. Over hills and through valleys he trudged, but he noticed little of the countryside. His poor head hung low. He thought how sad he was feeling. Week after week he travelled on. Soon an icy chill began to fill the air. It's going to be cold and winter, thought Benjamin as he unpacked his scarf. But still he didn't even consider turning back and going home. There was no place in his little village for a dragon who was afraid of fire. There he is, look, climbing over the bridge. He's got his scarf on. I hope he stays warm and I hope he finds a friend. One day, as Benjamin was sitting eating some of his honeycomb, he was startled by a noise coming from the bushes. Benjamin was frightened. What horrible creature could be making that noise, he thought. Then out of the bushes crept a hedgehog. Can you see that little tiny hedgehog there? That's like an echidna, which is an Australian animal, and I think it's Grandma's favourite. I love echidnas. He must be hungry, thought Benjamin, because if I remember correctly, by all rights, a hedgehog should be scared of a dragon, even one that is afraid of fire. Suddenly the hedgehog noticed Benjamin. It jumped into the air, then collapsed on the ground, pleading in a wobbly voice. Oh, please don't hurt me. I didn't mean to steal your food. It's just that I'm so hungry. I won't hurt you, said Benjamin. Please help yourself to my chocolate-coated honeycomb. My name is Benjamin, said Benjamin, holding out his hand. to shake his hand. Mine's Roger, said the hedgehog, placing his tiny paw in Benjamin's hand. I'm pleased to meet you, said Benjamin. Look at this. Look, they're shaking hands. There's Roger and Benjamin. And look at all that chocolate-covered honeycomb. Yum. In no time, the two were chatting as if they had known each other all their lives, and Benjamin told Roger all about his embarrassing problem. I'm a failure as a dragon, said Benjamin with a sigh. Oh, no. Why, I think you are by far the most impressive dragon I have ever met, said Roger, who had never actually met or seen a dragon before. Benjamin started to blush. He was not used to compliments. What brings you so far from home, Roger? He asked. Greevils, said Roger sadly. They took me completely by surprise. Benjamin had heard stories of Greevils before. They were horrible, mean and nasty creatures who roamed the countryside in packs, destroying everything in their paths. Normally, Greevils don't come this far south, explained Roger, but it's this early winter we're having. I'd been out collecting nuts and berries for my winter store, and when I returned, I found my home destroyed. They'd eaten all my provisions, and they had torn everything to shreds. There's a Greevil up there. He looks a bit grumpy. And look what he's done to Roger's house. The door's coming off the hinges, he's turned everything over and he's eaten all his food. Roger stifled a sob as he stared at the ground. I couldn't stay there, it wasn't safe anymore. Ever since then, I've been travelling around warning everyone about Greevils. Benjamin gently placed his hand on Roger's head. Roger, shall I go with you on your journey? Will you truly? Exclaimed Roger, suddenly forgetting his sadness and jumping to his feet. I will indeed, said Benjamin, taking Roger by the paw. So the two friends set off on their mission, warning everyone they met that the Greevils were heading south. Look, he's giving him a nice little pat on his head, and here they are, heading off together. Benjamin was so happy. He felt that what he and Roger were doing was really important. As they travelled around helping little animals to strengthen their homes against the Greevils, he felt useful for the first time in his life. Even if he was too scared to breathe fire, he still had a lot of strength. And although the thought of Greevils frightened him, he felt that as long as he had Roger by his side, he could face anything. Look, there's a turtle, I think, or a tortoise, and some possums maybe. It is a most wonderful feeling, thought Benjamin, to have a special friend. I must be the luckiest dragon in the world. One night, Benjamin woke to a deafening roar. All around, icy snow was swirling at a ferocious speed. Winter had arrived with a fury. Already the snow had banked up around Benjamin's sides, almost reaching Roger, who had taken to sleeping on Benjamin's upturned tummy. Knowing they would need to find shelter, Benjamin gently shook his little friend awake. Rog, wake up. We have to get out of the storm. Look, here they are travelling. Can you see Roger up here, snuggled under the scarf? And here they are, sleeping. There's Benjamin sleeping in the snow. And look, there's Roger on his tummy, all curled up. Do you know what I'm loving so far? That one day, Benjamin thought it was the worst day and he didn't have any friends and he was very sad. Then, the next day, he discovered a friend and he's having the most fun. I like that. Perching Roger on his shoulder, Benjamin set off into the night. The snow was almost blinding. He could hardly see the ground in front of him, and the icy wind blew so hard that walking was nearly impossible. In a short time, he was exhausted. Roger tried to offer encouragement, but his words were blown away, and very soon they struggled on in silence. Finally, Benjamin could dimly make out a cave that looked like it might offer a little shelter in the wind. With the last of his strength, he reached the cave and he collapsed to the ground. Can you see? There's the cave there, and there they are. Can you see Roger? Oh, I can barely see Roger there. There's so much snow. It's no use, Rog, he breathed heavily. I can't go on. This'll have to do for the night. There was no answer. Rog, said Benjamin, suddenly alarmed and looking around. Roger was nowhere in sight. Roger, cried Benjamin as he scrambled to the cave entrance. For just a moment, Benjamin thought he heard Roger's voice faintly calling his name. Roger, called Benjamin even louder, but there was no reply. Benjamin headed in the direction of the voice. The storm was getting worse, and now Benjamin could see nothing but snow. All night Benjamin searched. The world suddenly seemed frightening again, because his friend Roger was such a small hedgehog and he was lost. So he was sad, then he was happy he found Roger, and then sad because he's lost Roger in this big storm. Look, look, look. There's Roger. Then, just as Benjamin thought he would collapse from cold and tiredness, he noticed a small dark shape on the ground ahead. Peering through the snow, he saw that it was indeed Roger. But his relief soon turned to despair. His little friend was covered in ice and snow and had turned blue with cold. What is Benjamin going to do? Roger, cried Benjamin, answer me. But there was no reply. Roger just lay there, frozen. Uh-oh. What shall I do? He will surely die if I don't warm him up. Oh dear, I wish I'd never left home, whispered Benjamin to himself as he carried his tiny friend back to the cave. Suddenly he seemed to hear a voice deep within himself. Benjamin, you are a dragon. What do dragons do and no other creature can do? What do dragons do best? Breathe fire, thought Benjamin. They breathe fire. Look at Benjamin, he's holding his little frozen Roger. But maybe it's just what Benjamin needs to stop being scared of fire. I wonder. Benjamin knew that he must try, otherwise his only true friend might not make it. Placing Roger carefully out of harm's way, Benjamin took a few steps backwards. Summoning up all his courage, he took a deep breath and then he slowly exhaled. 2 thin wisps of smoke wafted up from his nose, while his tummy suddenly felt warm. A stream of fire flew out his nostrils. In a moment, all the ice and snow around him had melted. Soon, Benjamin had a healthy fire burning. Placing Roger on his warm tummy, Benjamin sat close to the fire and he watched as the ice melted away from his friend. Oh, Roger slowly opened his eyes. Oh, so look. Can you see here? There's Benjamin learning how to make fire and helping his friend. And look, oh, that's so happy. Ben, said Roger, where were you? I lost my grip. The wind was too cold and I was suddenly scared and cold and... Suddenly, Roger noticed there was fire. But Ben, how? What? Oh, did you do that? Benjamin nodded shyly. You made this fire to save me? But weren't you afraid? Roger asked. I don't know, said Benjamin. I suppose I didn't have time to be scared. Roger looked up at Benjamin with admiration. Ben, you are truly the very best friend that a hedgehog could ever hope to have. And they fell asleep in front of the fire. Can you see? There is Benjamin, and up there, right at the very tippy top, is Roger. And look, the delicious warm fire that Benjamin had created. In the morning, the storm had died down, but it was still icy cold and the fire had gone out. Benjamin quickly lit a new one. Rog, I cannot tell you how good it feels to have finally overcome my problem. I always knew you could do it, said Roger. You know, I should like to take you home and introduce you to my family, said Benjamin. I should like that very much, said Roger. So the two set off on the long journey back to Benjamin's village. The whole countryside was covered in snow, and they met many creatures who were in need of warming up. Benjamin was happy to help, for he totally lost his fear of fire. Now he realised what a useful thing it was. As he walked along, he felt that he was very special indeed. He had Roger safely tucked up in his scarf. And look here, he's been able to make fire for these little creatures. They look like wombats actually, not wombats, like wallabies. Maybe they are wallabies, I don't know. And look, there's Roger tucked up in Benjamin's scarf. At last, one day they saw from the crest of a hill a small village covered in snow. This is my home, said Benjamin. Soon they reached the village. The streets were all empty and everything was quiet. That's funny, said Benjamin. I wonder where everyone is. When they arrived at Benjamin's house, they found his mother busily knitting a huge scarf. She was so excited to see him that she dropped her knitting and she hugged him so tight. Hello, Mother, said Benjamin. I'd like you to meet my good friend Roger. Look, can you see? There's Benjamin's mum and she's knitting a scarf, and this is Benjamin and Roger arriving back home. Benjamin's mother soon told them why it was so quiet in the village. Due to the very cold weather, the whole village had a bad case of dragon flu. All the dragons had severely blocked noses, and as everyone knows, a dragon with a blocked nose just cannot breathe fire. In fact, there was not one single dragon in the whole of the town who could breathe any fire. All they could do was stay indoors, wrapped up in scarves and tail warmers, and wait until they felt better. It's terrible, said Benjamin's mother. Your poor father's been in bed for over a week. Thinking that Benjamin might want to be alone with his mother for a little while, Roger was very polite and excused himself, saying he felt like having a look around. While Roger was gone, Benjamin told his mother about his travels. He was just describing how he and Roger had become separated in the storm when Roger came bursting through the door. Look, there he is bursting through the door. But Ben, gasped Roger breathlessly, Greevils! There are Greevils! Dozens of them heading for your town. They sense that we're sick. They know we're helpless without our fire. Go, son, cried his mum. We're all too ill to outrun the Greevils. Save yourselves, take Roger and run. But Benjamin was a different dragon from the one who had run away all that time ago. No, Mum, I won't run away again. You and Father stay here and lock the door. Roger and I shall take care of this. Placing Roger up on his head where he could keep a lookout, Benjamin climbed to the top of a small hill. Within moments, the Greevils were swarming all around him. Fangs gleaming in the cold light, their greedy yellow eyes focused on Benjamin and Roger. If there was one thing Greevils liked better than hedgehog for dinner, it was dragon. Uh-oh! Can you see them up on top of the hill? There's Roger on his head, and look, all the Greevils coming. I wonder what Benjamin's going to do. Imagine their surprise when this dragon, who they thought was very ill, suddenly breathed a huge cloud of fire. Singed and smouldering Greevils were running in all directions, crashing into each other and rolling around in the snow, trying to put out the flames. Very soon, Roger was able to report that all the Greevils were heading northwards. There's Benjamin blowing out his fire and all the singed and running away Greevils. Good on you, Benjamin. Good for Ben, hey? When Benjamin and Roger returned to the village, they found all the dragons waiting for them. A big cheer went up and all the young dragons looked at Benjamin with newfound respect. Benjamin's Mum and Dad were extremely proud as the mayor presented him with a medal for bravery and made Roger an honorary dragon, even though he was a hedgehog. Benjamin felt so blissfully happy until he noticed that Roger now had a sad look on his face. "Why, Roger," said Ben, "what's wrong?" "I'm sorry," said Roger. "It's nothing really. Just, I remembered I no longer have my own home." "Nonsense," said Ben. "If you wish, you can be part of our family. You are, after all, an honorary dragon." "Oh, Ben," said Roger, "now I know you are by far the most impressive dragon I have ever met." And look, here's all of the people coming out, the dragons coming out to present Ben with the medal. And the mayor is presenting Benjamin with the medal. Oh, look what he did with his medal. He put the medal on little Roger. Roger got a medal too because he's still got one. Aww. As the weeks passed, the sun came out and the snow vanished. All the dragons were soon back on their feet, their noses unblocked, all happily breathing fire. But none were happier than Benjamin, who had a special friend and a medal for bravery, and he knew he would never be lonely ever again. And that's the end of the story. I wonder if you liked Benjamin the Lonely Dragon. Well, he's not lonely anymore, is he? Isn't that exciting? He went from being sad to being happy to have a friend, to being scared, to being happy again, and then came back to his family where he was the happiest ever. I love that. That's a bit like life. Sometimes things are happy, then they're sad, then they're happy again. But if we wait long enough, all the happy things come back. I love you lots. I hope you enjoyed Grandma's first story about a dragon. I'm not sure what I'll read next. I have to have a think about it. If you have any ideas, you give me a message and let me know. If you liked my YouTube, give me a thumbs up and press subscribe to see more of Grandma's YouTube channel.